Karen's sneer could curdle milk. She stood, can of silly string in hand, laughing like she'd just won the lottery while the veteran in the wheelchair wiped neon goo from his face. The neighborhood block party, meant to be a celebration of community, had just turned into a battlefield, and Karen, self-appointed queen of the HOA, was at the center of the storm. It was a muggy August afternoon in Maple Grove, a sleepy suburban enclave where every lawn was manicured to perfection and every mailbox bore the HOA's seal of approval. The annual block party was the event of the year. Kids ran through sprinklers, burgers sizzled on grills, and neighbors swapped gossip over lemonade. But this year, Karen and her sister, Linda, had other plans. The two women, both in their late 40s, were notorious for their iron grip on the HOA. Karen, with her oversized sunglasses and a perpetual scowl, treated the neighborhood like her personal fiefdom. Linda, her thinner but equally venomous sidekick, followed her lead, always ready with a snarky comment or a passive-aggressive note about someone's non-compliant flower bed. The trouble started when Tom, a retired Marine who'd lost the use of his legs in Afghanistan, rolled up to the party in his wheelchair. Tom was new to Maple Grove, having moved in just a month ago. He kept to himself, but his quiet demeanor and the Purple Heart sticker on his mailbox had earned him quiet respect from most neighbors. Not from Karen, though. She'd already sent him 3 citations for unsightly modifications to his ramp, claiming it clashed with the aesthetic guidelines. Tom ignored her, which only fueled her disdain. As the party hummed along, Karen and Linda stood by the dessert table, whispering and pointing at Tom. He was chatting with a group of kids, showing them how to toss a frisbee from his chair, his laughter warm and genuine. Karen's eyes narrowed. "Look at him, acting like he owns the place," she muttered to Linda. "He doesn't even belong here with that ugly ramp." Linda smirked, pulling a can of silly string from her purse. "Let's have some fun," she said, her voice dripping with malice. What happened next was as swift as it was cruel. Karen and Linda strutted over, cans in hand, and unleashed a torrent of neon silly string onto Tom's wheelchair. The sticky strands coated his lap, his arms, even his face. The kids scattered, their laughter replaced by gasps. Tom froze, his hands gripping the wheels, his jaw tight. The crowd fell silent, the only sound Karen's cackling as she sprayed another burst. "Lighten up, soldier boy," she jeered. "It's just a prank." But it wasn't just a prank. To Tom, it was an assault on his dignity, a reminder of the countless times he'd been dismissed or pitted since returning home. To the onlookers, it was a shocking display of cruelty. Sarah, a young nurse who lived across the street, stepped forward, her face flushed with anger. "What is wrong with you?" she shouted, her voice trembling. "He's a veteran, not your personal punching bag." Karen rolled her eyes, tossing the empty can onto the grass. "Oh, please. It's just silly string. He'll survive." The crowd murmured, tension crackling like static. An older man, Mr. Jenkins, who'd lived in Maple Grove for 30 years, shook his head. "You've gone too far, Karen," he said quietly. "This isn't how we treat people here." But Karen doubled down, her voice rising. "I'm the HOA president. I decide what's acceptable. If he can't handle a little fun, maybe he shouldn't be here." Linda nodded, crossing her arms, her smirk mirroring her sister's. Unbeknownst to Karen, Sarah had started recording the moment Karen and Linda began their attack. The video captured every detail: the spray, the laughter, Tom's stoic silence as he wiped the string from his eyes. Sarah uploaded it to the neighborhood's private Facebook group, and within minutes, it spread like wildfire. Comments poured in, each one angrier than the last. "Disgusting behavior. Karen needs to go. That poor man didn't deserve this." By evening, the video had been shared beyond Maple Grove, reaching local news outlets and veteran support groups. The backlash was swift. The next morning, Karen woke to find her pristine lawn covered in silly string pink, green, and blue strands draped over her azaleas like a neon nightmare. A handwritten sign staked in her yard read, "Karen's Karma." She stormed outside, shrieking about vandalism, but the neighbors just watched from their porches, their silence louder than any protest. Linda, meanwhile, tried to play the victim, posting a tearful video claiming they were just joking and didn't mean any harm. No one bought it. The HOA board called an emergency meeting that evening. Karen, still defiant, strutted in with her usual swagger, expecting to bully her way through. But the room was packed not just with board members, but with neighbors, many of whom had never attended a meeting before. Tom was there too, his wheelchair positioned near the front, his expression calm but resolute. Sarah stood beside him, holding her phone, ready to play the video again if needed. The board president, a quiet man named Greg, opened the meeting. "Karen, Linda," he said, his voice steady. "What you did yesterday wasn't just a prank. It's considered harassment under state law, and it's a violation of the HOA's code of conduct." Karen scoffed, but Greg held up a hand. "We've received a petition signed by 80% of the neighborhood, demanding your removal as HOA president. And Tom has every right to press charges." Karen's face paled. Linda's smirk vanished. For the first time, they seemed to realize the weight of their actions. Tom spoke up, his voice low but firm. "I don't want charges," he said. "I just want an apology. And I want my ramp left alone." The room erupted in applause, but Karen stayed silent, her lips pursed. Linda mumbled a half-hearted sorry, but Karen just crossed her arms, refusing to budge. The board voted unanimously to remove Karen as president and suspend both sisters from the HOA. The neighbors cheered, but Tom remained quiet, his eyes fixed on Karen. As the meeting ended, Sarah approached him. "You didn't have to let them off so easy," she said. Tom shook his head. "I've seen enough conflict," he replied. "Sometimes, letting people live with their shame is punishment enough." But the story didn't end there. The video continued to circulate, and soon, Karen and Linda became local pariahs. Their real estate business, already shaky, tanked as clients dropped them. Invitations to barbecues and book clubs dried up. Even their own cousins stopped returning their calls. Karen tried to spin the narrative, claiming she was the victim of a woke mob, but the evidence was undeniable. The silly string prank, meant to humiliate Tom, had backfired spectacularly, exposing their cruelty to the world. Months later, Tom's ramp was repainted by a group of neighbors, who also helped him plant a small garden beside it. The block party the following year was bigger than ever, with Tom at the center, teaching kids how to make paper airplanes. Karen and Linda didn't attend. They'd moved to a condo across town, their reign of terror over. The neighborhood felt lighter, freer, as if a cloud had lifted. The lesson wasn't just about Karen's downfall. It was about community, about standing up for what's right, even when it's uncomfortable. It was about Tom's quiet strength, Sarah's courage, and the neighbors who refused to let cruelty slide. Maple Grove wasn't perfect, but it was home, and they'd fought to keep it that way. The end.